All right, welcome to AI Verdict. We're breaking down the absolute latest in tech, and CES 2026 just wrapped up. Man, what a whirlwind. We saw everything from these massive industrial humanoids to, well, gadgets that'll make you scratch your head and ask, is this genius or just plain weird? So let's get right into it. I mean, we saw machines with just shocking agility. We're talking robots doing backflips, pulling off moves that look like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. This year, it really wasn't just about raw strength anymore. It was all about grace and incredible precision. And then you had these new ways for AI to literally become your personal desktop sidekick. Think holographic assistants popping up right on your desk, bringing digital help right into your physical space. It's wild stuff. And yeah, we also saw nails that change color on command. So there were definitely plenty of these really unique gadgets that had us all wondering, okay, is this actually useful or is it just a clever gimmick? Let's dive in and unpack the biggest reveals from CES 2026. Okay, so here's the plan. We're going to start with the sci-fi stuff, the robots. Then we'll look at the AI that's powering everything. After that, we'll see how this tech is showing up in your next computer. And finally, we'll jump into the fun stuff, the gadgets. Are they genius or just a gimmick? All right, first up, robots get real. We're talking about them moving from the factory floor right to your front door. This year was different. You know, the machines moved way beyond just being strong. They became incredibly agile, almost lifelike. It was a huge leap forward in what we thought was possible. So what's fascinating is that we saw two very different philosophies when it comes to robotics. On one side, you've got this industrial powerhouse, the Boston Dynamics and Google Atlas. And on the other, you've got the Unitree robot, which is all about incredible dynamic agility. So let's talk about Atlas. This is the big one from that Boston Dynamics and Google partnership. Think of it as an absolute industrial workhorse. It's got Google's foundation models running the show. That's kind of like its core brain, giving it general smarts. It's built for factories, can lift 110 pounds, sees in 360 degrees, and get this, it even swaps its own batteries to keep working nonstop. And then you have the other side of the coin. This is just incredible. The Unitree robot showed off this breathtaking balance by kicking a 60-kilogram pad. That's over 130 pounds, and it did it while balancing on a single leg. It's just a stunning display of how insanely efficient and stable these machines are getting. So moving beyond the factory floor, we also got a glimpse of how these robots might start showing up in our personal lives. Right now, companies like Realbotix are working on hyper-realistic skin, though the faces are still a little uncanny valley. But in the near future, we've got Genie01, a home robot with tactile skin, so it can handle fragile stuff. And way out there, Kawasaki is even planning a demo of a hydrogen-powered robotic horse for the 2030 Expo. Yeah, a robotic horse. Okay, so let's get into the AI that's powering everything. I mean, what's really making all these incredible robots possible? Well, the answer is huge, massive leaps in the AI models, the brains behind the brawn, and, just as importantly, the hardware that actually runs them. And speaking of brains, Nvidia made a massive splash. They dropped a new foundation model for robotics, and they're calling it the GPT moment for robotics. What they're saying is this will be as game-changing for robots as ChatGPT was for, writing emails and essays. It's a huge claim. Now, a really key piece of this puzzle is something called edge computing. Basically, instead of the robot having to send every piece of data to the cloud to think, it can do the calculations right there on its own body. This is all thanks to super efficient hardware like Nvidia's new Jetson card. It means the robots can think for themselves right on the spot, which makes them way faster and more independent. And okay, for the giant data centers that actually train these AI models, Nvidia unveiled its new Rubin architecture. And look at these numbers. It's way faster for sure, but the really critical part, the one that everyone is talking about, is that it's 8 times more power efficient. You have to remember, these data centers use as much electricity as a small city, so making them more efficient isn't just nice, it's absolutely essential. And this new AI power isn't just for robots, it's changing other huge industries too. Take driverless cars. There's this new open source model called Alpha Mayo that can learn to drive in a simulation. So instead of needing millions of miles of real-world footage, these cars can practice in a virtual world, which is a total game changer for training. So the big question is, how does all this crazy power translate to the devices we actually use every single day, like our laptops? I mean, how does AI become your next computer companion? Well, the promise is huge, but the reality is a little more complicated. And we got a major reality check on that front. In a moment of, frankly, surprising honesty, Dell's vice chairman came out and said, "Our AI-first consumer PC marketing approach has failed." Turns out, just slapping an AI sticker on a laptop isn't the magic wand that gets people to buy it. So what do people want? What do you really look for when you're buying a new computer? It's the basics, right? You want better battery life, a better screen, more storage, and just solid overall performance. The AI stuff, it's cool, but it's not the main reason you're buying. But even with that reality check, companies are still pushing forward with some really new and interesting ways to interact with your PC. You've got Lenovo's Core AI, which can actually see what's on your screen to help you with tasks. And then Razer just went for it and unveiled a 3D holographic assistant that sits on your desk. It's your little research buddy right there in the real world. And look, on the hardware front, it's awesome to see that companies are actually listening to what people want. Samsung and Intel work together on new tech that directly tackles that battery life problem. They figured out a way to manage power during HDR content, giving OLED laptops a solid 22% boost in battery. That's a big deal. Okay, and finally, let's get to the really fun part, the gadgets. Are they genius or are they a gimmick? This is where AI gets applied in some, let's just say, very creative ways. This is where things get weird and you get to be the judge. So let's do a quick lightning round. We've got an ultrasonic chef knife that vibrates 400 times a second to make cutting easier. Is that practical or pointless? There's a smart hair clipper that scans your head to help you get the perfect haircut. Helpful or hopeless? And yes, electronic smart nails that can change color 500 times through an app. Is that the future of fashion or just a fad? And let's not forget the Fujifilm camera that replicates old photo styles. Nostalgic or just needless? You tell me. So when you look back at everything we saw at CES 2026, you've got these world-changing robots on one hand and color-shifting fingernails on the other. It really leaves us with one big question for you to think about. The technology is obviously here, and it's getting more powerful by the day,